Alright, so I guess I'll give my quick review of the DLC now that I finally finished it, because there was a lot of hype before I got into it. Everybody kept saying, you gotta do the Shivering Isles, it's amazing. So now that I finally finished it, my thoughts on it are not very good. It's like, it's an okay DLC. Like, I'm not gonna say that it's terrible, but it wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be. Shia Goraf is probably like the one character that I really hated in this whole DLC, mainly because he was just a giant dick the entire time. There was nothing funny about him or cool. Like, I guess you would try to compare him to the Joker, but he's nothing like the Joker, because the Joker at least was, I would say he's more of an asshole. Like, he does really shitty things, but also he's very funny at the same time. Whereas with the Shia Goraf, he was just always condescending, and it always came off like very like asshole. Like, he's an extra asshole, like even more of an asshole than the Joker is, to the point where I didn't want to help him. So that's the only shitty part about this whole DLC. I didn't really care for his character. But other than that, I really like that they have new NPCs. You see how the guards, they look a little different. They're not the basic guards, and they act different. I like that they're all women too, so it's like Amazonian type of thing. Like, it's really cool. Also, the world itself in here is actually pretty interesting, because it reminds me of Morrowind. It gives off those vibes. And then there's like basically two different versions. So you get the bright one if you choose the mania, or if you pick dementia, then it's going to be a darker version. And that's, unfortunately, it seems like the only thing that changes about this world. I was really hoping that if you chose a certain world, it would be a completely different layout, like a completely different type of island. But that's not the case. When it came to the quest, I didn't do every single side quest, but I followed mainly the main quest, and I probably did one side quest. And the main quest, I found it to be kind of boring for the most part, up until the part where there was the torture guy, that you take the torture guy around to go torture people to get information out of them. Like, that was probably the most fun quest that I've done in this whole entire thing. I just enjoyed torturing people. I don't know, there was just something hilarious about it. I could do that shit for hours. But I know there was another quest that was really important to a lot of people, where you have to choose what direction the adventurers are supposed to go or whatever. And there was only two options. So it's either doing something to make them go insane, or there's a way to basically just kill them off. And I just felt like it didn't give you that much control over it. I was really expecting it to be a system, like maybe like a gauntlet that you could send them through, or maybe even have me design what happens to them. Like, let's say if it was to just let me spawn like 1 million fucking enemies, and then they have to deal with all the millions of enemies. Like, it would have been interesting if I could control what happened, instead of it just being some pre-scripted thing when you just pick a side, basically. So that was kind of, I don't know, a letdown for me. But then again, I guess you can't think too highly of a game that's this old. But still, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with that quest line. I felt like it could have been better. Also, it was pretty disappointing that there wasn't any new music in these zones. I was expecting to hear something different, at least one new song. It was just the entire Oblivion soundtrack, the thing that you're used to. So that's super disappointing. And overall, this whole DLC, it did feel like it was pretty deep. Like, it was pretty long. I probably played this for like a good, I don't know, what, 8 hours or more? And yeah, it was almost like it was a full game on its own. So that's really good. So at least this DLC was really, really worth it. Not like most DLCs you see these days in 2023, where every single DLC is just like fucking an hour long or whatever, and then you just move on back to the main game again, you know, and then you still gotta spend like $40 on the shit. So like, that's really shitty. But yeah, it felt like there was a lot of bang for the buck with this whole DLC, so it was definitely worth it. Overall, it was an interesting world. I just felt like there could have been more done with it, because there wasn't really a whole lot of moments that I really enjoyed in this DLC. Like there's nothing really rememberable about it, except for maybe that one cave where you're rebuilding the what you call it, the Guardian, and they had like you have to chase the breath to find where the breath was located, so you can go retrieve that, and then the blood and all that stuff, and the body parts. Which that one lady, what was her name, Relmia or something? I don't remember her name, but she was probably the most interesting character in this whole entire DLC for me, because she was very like what I was expecting the main character to be like the Joker, basically, like a demented fucking psychopath, but was acting like it was just normal. Like she did it for me better than Shia Gorath did. So like I appreciated that character a lot more. But other than that, like I don't know, it's been a pretty average experience. So I can't really recommend it other than to do this DLC for the rewards that you get, because you get some badass weapons and you get some cool armor. So that's like the main reason to do this whole DLC. Other than that, it's whatever, I think. But yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts on the DLC.